Action Magazine television series. For this week's show, we go to Table Rock Lake for the 2001 Table Rock Pro-Am. It's one of the best tournaments of the year, and we hope you enjoy it. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Now, you may regard this as a strange position for a grown man to place himself in. Or you might wonder how so many guys could have dropped something in the water and are now looking diligently to find it. Well, the answer is that it's the last weekend in April, and at Table Rock Lake, the bass are still on the spawning beds. More than 220 anglers from 8 states have gathered here for the Table Rock Pro-Am, the third event on Central Pro-Am's 2001 Tournament Trail. For many of the contestants, the mesmerizing experience of sight fishing for a particular bass is so strong they'll bend over backward, or more accurately, forward, to get a better view of their quarry. Just ask 1991 Pro-Am champion and sight fishing expert Jerry Snyder.
I've had pretty good practice. There's lots of bedding fish right now, which I'm going to be sight fishing. Several 4 to 5 pound fish on the beds. You can also go out in Carolina, rig them. There'll be lots of guys doing that. I look for lots of limits to be brought in over the next 2 days.
Another sight fishing aficionado is former Major League pitcher Chuck Krim, who won the Bull Shoals Pro-Am earlier in the year. He, too, expects fishing to be good for this event.
This lake is fishing just awesome right now. We were talking about it the other day, and it's like being able to fish SeaWorld. If you like to go up in the shallows and look at bass, this is going to be the tournament for you, and it's definitely a tournament for me. I like to do that kind of stuff. I think it's probably going to take anywhere from 28 to probably 30 pounds to win this thing, and if I have a good day, I think I can catch that.
The morning of day one dawns clear and bright, about as perfect a spring day as you could ask for. And the balmy weather and a chance to catch spawning bass in the shallows have the Pro-Am anglers eager to get on the water. When it comes to sight fishing around Table Rock, Larry Herndon is one of the best. To maximize his fishing time, Herndon has stayed in well-known spawning areas near Kimberling City, but he tries to make up for the heavy fishing pressure there by fishing deeper than other anglers, who are often unwilling to take the time and effort it takes to catch quality bass that often spawn deeper than smaller fish. Herndon also did his homework in practice, keeping detailed notes describing where bigger bass were bedding. So this morning, he's concentrating on catching bass he estimates are 3 pounds or larger. Before the sun is even fully up in the sky, Herndon is already on a roll. Lou Treat is used to fishing the crystal clear waters of Bull Shoals, so sight fishing is his cup of tea. He's already won 2 Central Pro-Am tournaments, one of them at Table Rock, and he'd like nothing better than to add a 3rd title right here. This morning, Treats also stayed near Kimberling City and is concentrating his search around boat docks in Fisher Creek. It doesn't take him long to get rolling, and if he can keep this up, he's certain to be among the Day 1 leaders. David Junk came all the way from Quincy, Illinois to fish in this tournament, and so far, he's making the most of his Central Pro-Am debut. Junk and amateur partner Dick Heineman have located bass in the same vicinity as Treat. By mid-morning, Junk already has 3 keepers, and he's quickly closing in on his limit. Marty Conrad teamed with Lefty Evans to win Central Pro-Am's Ranger Mercury Platinum Team Tournament on Table Rock the previous weekend. And now, Conrad has his sights set on a Pro-Am title as well. Many Pro-Am anglers use white tube baits for sight fishing because they resemble bait fish. But Conrad doesn't think color matters when bass are protecting their nests, so he prefers a color he can definitely see. This morning, he's using a bright Firetail tube, and so far it doesn't seem to be hampering his style in the slightest. When the Pro-Am anglers return to the Kimberling Inn for the afternoon weigh-in, David Boer takes the early amateur division lead with a limit weighing 10.1 pounds. But he's soon overtaken by Mike Smith with 11.3 pounds. A short time later, Lyle Vale challenges Smith's lead.
You got 5 fish in there. Look out. What's leading this amateurs is 11:30. Look out. It's going. It's gone. 11.80 pounds. A new leader in the amateur division, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, Lyle Vale.
When the 3rd flight arrives, Larry Stevie comes to the scales.
Look out, Lyle Vale. Look out. 12. Oops. Stay still there. 17.05 pounds.
In the Pro Division, Danny Pierce gets things rolling early with a limit weighing 13.5 pounds. Bobby Albert makes a run at Pierce's lead, but comes up short with 13.1 pounds. Tom Ranji comes in with this magnificent 4.5-pound smallmouth, but he only has 3 keepers and can't challenge Pierce's lead. Andy Carrier has one even bigger at 4.7 pounds, but he has only 4 keepers, and they total 11.95 pounds. Then Larry Herndon comes to the scales.
You've got a chance to do very well. It needs to be over 13 pounds to take this. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got a new leader in the Pro Division, 17.80 pounds. Good job, Larry Herndon.
Don Middleton has a limit that weighs 14.4 pounds. Then Lynn Sykes comes to the scales. He too has a solid limit and moves into contention with 14.05 pounds. Then it's Marty Conrad.
I know you said earlier that some of your fish had moved out. Were you able to find some more?
Yeah, we done a lot of running and looking today, and I think I got a pretty good stack.
Let's see. They need to go over 17.80 pounds to take this. What's going to push you close, Larry Herndon? Let's see here. 16.20 pounds for Marty Conrad.
Next is Robbie Dodson.
There's a limit of bass over there. What are they going to weigh, sir?
I don't know. Hopefully.
But she says 15 and a half, and that guy, let's see how close he is. 17.35 pounds. That's good for second place in the Pro Division, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Robbie Dodson.
Then, when everyone has conceded the day one lead to Larry Herndon, Jerry Snyder comes to the scales.
Got a limit of fish in there?
Got a small limit.
I understand you're back to fishing full time now.
Trying it.
Trying it. Look out, Larry Herndon, a new leader in the Pro Division. 18.65 pounds, Jerry Snyder.
At the end of the first day, Jerry Snyder sits atop the Lunker Lure Pro-Am scoreboard with 18.65 pounds. Less than a pound behind is Pro-Am veteran Larry Herndon with 17.8 pounds, followed by Robbie Dodson, Toby Hartzell, and Marty Conrad. In the rest of the top 10, Don Middleton leads the way in 6th place with 14.4 pounds. But Harold Lawrence, Lynn Sykes, John Hartzell, and David Bailey are all within a pound of Middleton. In the amateur division, Larry Stevie holds the day one lead with 13.05 pounds. But Lyle Vale, Johnny Ash, Billy Joe Boley, and Mike Smith are all hot on his trail. In the rest of the top 10, Kevin Kuhn leads the way in 6th place, with David Boer, Bob Jorgensen, Scott Berry, and James Brown close behind. Stay tuned for exciting Day 2 action. We'll be right back. Which is just fine with most of the Central Pro-Am anglers. But for Day 1 leader Jerry Snyder, who's fishing his first Central Pro-Am tournament in 7 years, the tension is beginning to mount. He knows he has Larry Herndon, Marty Conrad, and a host of other capable anglers hot on his trail. Snyder is out with the first flight and heads straight to the area in Fisher Creek that produced his Day 1 limit. Immediately, he begins searching for the beds of the bigger bass he saved for today. But to his dismay, he finds they finished spawning overnight, and now they're gone. Quickly, he starts to look for other catchable bass, regardless what size they are. Carefully, he moves in close and pitches his tube bait into the nest to entice them to strike. Finally, a big bass hits his lure, but almost immediately gets free. Snyder is understandably discouraged because he knows losing that fish may have cost him big time. Not far away, Larry Herndon is back on the trail of the bass he saved for Day 2. But he's also finding the going difficult. Herndon can see bass almost everywhere he looks, but he's determined to concentrate his efforts on catching quality bass. Almost immediately, Herndon begins catching fish, and if he can keep this up, he'll be in position to win his second Pro-Am title. At the end of Day 1, Toby Hartzell was in 4th place, nearly 2 pounds behind leader Jerry Snyder. Like most of the other Pro-Am anglers, Hartzell and amateur partner Mike Neal are catching fish, but they're finding keepers hard to come by. To avoid congestion in the shallows, Hartzell is fishing an area where the water is so clear he can see bass spawning in nearly 20 feet of water. It takes time to hunt them down in water that deep, But if Hartzell can come in with a limit, he has a chance to win his 5th Central Pro-Am title. Meanwhile, Toby's younger brother, John, is fishing intently nearby in a small, isolated pocket. Hartzell and amateur partner Andy Gill are catching plenty of fish, but almost all of them are too short to keep. Hartzell was in the top 10 at the end of the first day, and he knows that if he can come through with another limit, he has a chance of coming through with his best Central Pro-Am finish ever. Marty Conrad started day 2 in 5th place, 2.5 pounds behind the leader, so he knows he has to have a good limit. By mid-morning, Conrad already has his 5th bass, but today his fish are running smaller than on day 1. And he knows he must land a big one if he's to have a chance of overtaking Jerry Snyder. The same is true of Lynn Sykes. Although he's a Central Pro-Am rookie, Sykes has quickly proved he belongs in this league. At the end of the first day, Sykes was in 9th place, 4 pounds out of the lead. But today, with the leaders finding the going tougher than on day 1, Sykes is suddenly in the running if he can come in with a good limit. Finally, Sykes gets his 5th fish. Now all he needs is a big kicker to put him in the thick of the race. Harold Lawrence is one of Central Pro-Am's most consistent anglers, but he's never managed to win. After day 1, he was in 10th place. This morning, he too is on a roll, and everything seems to be going his way. By mid-morning, Lawrence has his limit, and he begins to cull. He knows that landing a big fish may be the only thing separating him from finishing in the Central Pro-Am winner's circle for the first time. With his big fish out of the picture, Jerry Snyder must now pursue a limit of any size bass he can find. By late morning, Snyder has guessed that the fishing is tougher for everyone, and if he can manage to come in with another limit, he will have done all he can do. More importantly, he will have forced Larry Herndon and the others to come in with limits of their own in order to overtake him. When the Pro-Am anglers return to the Kimberling Inn for the final weigh-in, Mark Lewis is one of the first to come to the scales, and he takes the Amateur Division Big Bass lead with this 3.95-pound smallmouth. A short time later, it's Larry Stevie.
Larry's your Amateur Division leader yesterday with 13.05 pounds. Have you got him?
I got a little limit.
He's got a little limit. Now, we talk about David Barker's little limits all the time. Let's see what they're going to weigh here. He's got another good bag of fish, 10.25 pounds. Your new leader in the Amateur Division, Larry Stevie.
Bob Jorgensen has his second straight limit, but he falls short of overtaking Stevie. It's ditto for David Boer, whose 10.4-pound limit leaves him tied with Jorgensen for second place. Finally, it all comes down to Lyle Vail.
23.30 pounds is leading it right now. Oh, they're saying we might have a new leader. Look here, 11.20 pounds. Oh, how close can it be? Let's see. Not quite, 23 pounds even.
In the Pro Division, first day leader Jerry Snyder is one of the first to weigh in.
Jerry has not been fishing the tournament circuit for the last couple of years, and he's back with us now, and he's got a limit of fish. Let's see what they're going to weigh here. 10.10 pounds for Jerry Snyder. Jerry, let's talk just a little bit. Now, I know you had a good bunch of fish located yesterday. What happened to them?
I'd say 7 fish for today. And out of the 7 fish, 1 was there, and a camera boat was on me, and I hooked it, and he jumped and spit it, and I never could get him to bite again. But the fish that I've been seeing are leaving. I think it's just about over up in this area.
They're just about done. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jerry Snyder. He's got a total weight of 28.75 pounds. That's your new leader right there.
A few minutes later, Robbie Dodson comes to the scales.
Got a bag over there, young man?
Not as good as yesterday.
Not as good as yesterday. The lead right now is 28.75 pounds. That's still Jerry Snyder. Can you get to him?
Be close.
It's going to be close, he says. Let's look in here. Look out. 15.55 pounds. What area of the lake you been fishing, Robbie?
From Cow Creek to the dam.
From Cow Creek to the dam. Let's see what a total weight's going to be here. Looky here, ladies and gentlemen. New leader in the Pro Division, 32.65 pounds, Robbie Dodson.
Finally, it all comes down to Larry Herndon.
Let's see what Larry Herndon has today. He's got 4 fish in there, 13.05 pounds. Larry, you've got a pretty good bag of fish there, but 32 pounds is leading it. Did they leave you today?
No, they're just laying in there like big cordwood, but the 5 to 10 turned into 15 to 25, so that kind of made it tough on us.
Let's see what the total weight. You're in second place right now, 30.35 pounds. Good job, Larry Herndon.
It's official now. Robbie Dodson wins his second Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 32.65 pounds. Runner-up Larry Herndon is just over 2 pounds back on the Lunker Lure Pro-Am scoreboard with 30.35 pounds, followed by Day 1 leader Jerry Snyder, Don Middleton, and Toby Hartzell. In the rest of the top 10, Marty Conrad holds down 6th place with 27.9 pounds, with John Hartzell, Tim Taylor, Butch Still, and Harold Lawrence close behind. In the amateur division, Larry Stevie earns his first Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 23.3 pounds. Lyle Vale finishes only 5 ounces behind with 23 pounds, while David Boer, Bob Jorgensen, and Bill Bird round out the top 5. In the rest of the top 10, James Brown leads the way in 6th place with 19.65 pounds, followed by Chuck Bridgewater, Scott Berry, Johnny Ash, and Jim Kaywood. Stay tuned for tournament winning tips from Robbie Dodson. We'll be right back. It's time now for Tips from the Top. Techniques you can use to catch more fish. Brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them one at a time.
Bed fishing, I kind of like it. You know, you get to see them, and they're fun to catch. They're fun to mess after them. A lot of times you get suckered into sitting there 2 hours on one, and you never do catch her, but it's fun to do. There's no really set way to do it. You just got to just mess after them and watch the fish and see how they react to your bait. And some of them will bite, and some of them won't. Some of them never will bite. You can sit on them all day and they wouldn't bite, but you just got to find the right fish. You just keep putting it over there and she'll bite sooner or later. I always toss it beyond and just crawl it across the bottom. Sometimes I stop and leave it there for 5 or 10 minutes. Just let the fish swim around it and get used to it and then start crawling it again. And sometimes you just crawl it just fast as you can crawl it across there, and sometimes you just swim it by it and it bites. You just got to fish them and see how they react. I used a G Loomis spinning rod and I used 10-pound test line with a 1/4 ounce stand-up head and a Bobby Garland White Gets It. I had my drag set as tight as it would go, and I would just back reel on my spinning reel. A lot of times when you got your drag set loose enough for it to slip, you don't get a good hook set. The drag slips, you don't get a good hook set. So I always just tighten my drag all the way down and just back reel whenever she makes a hard run. I chose the one I chose because it kind of looks like a shad, and you can see it. You know where it's at, and you know when she bites. That's the main thing. If you can't see your bait, you never know when she's got it a lot of times. She can suck it in, and you don't even know it, and she'll go out and blow it out. But if you can see that white bait, you know when she gets a hold of it. Most of the time, I don't use a weed guard. A lot of times, the way this head is, it just stands up on the bottom, and you just crawl it across the bottom. And you ain't got nothing to put any pressure against the fish. When you do set the hook, you know, you get her. Now, if she's in a tree or something, I use a weed guard. But it's hard to get a weed guard in this stand-up head, but you can do it. There was never a point I thought I had it won. About 10:30, I had everything I had, and my amateur had a limit, and the wind started blowing, and we just never could find a place that we could see, and then everywhere you did find, there was a boat. We never caught another fish after about 10:30. So, no, I really didn't think I had a chance.
Congratulations to Robbie Dodson on his second Central Pro-Am victory. Join us next week when we go to Lake Eufaula in central Oklahoma for the 2001 Eufaula Pro-Am. See you then.
The Fishin' Magazine television series is brought to you by Ranger Boats.